It all began innocently enough. My wife, Rachel, had always been the kind of woman who thrived in the spotlight. She had this electric presence, the kind that could light up an entire room with just her laugh. People were naturally drawn to her, and I never minded. In fact, it was one of the things I loved most about her. But somewhere along the way, her need for attention, her hunger for validation, grew into something that no longer fit within the bounds of our marriage. It was a Saturday evening, and we were hosting one of the dinner parties Rachel loved to plan down to the finest detail. She handled everything: the menu, the decor, even the seating chart. She took immense pride in it, and I was happy to let her take the reins. Among our guests were close friends and a few of her work colleagues, including Derek. Derek, just his name now makes my jaw clench. He was slick, smug, and carried himself with an arrogance that made my skin crawl. I never liked him. There was something about the way he looked at Rachel, like she was already his. But Rachel had dismissed my concerns with a laugh. "He's harmless," she'd said. I wanted to believe her. The night started off beautifully. Laughter rang through the house. Wine flowed freely, and the room buzzed with warmth and conversation. I was in the kitchen, refilling drinks, when I heard Rachel's voice from the living room, hushed and giddy as she whispered to her best friend, Emily. They were tucked away in a corner, thinking they were out of earshot. I wouldn't have paid it any mind, but something in her tone caught me, playful but secretive. "I mean, have you seen Derek?" she giggled. "That man is a god. And let me tell you, Emily, he knows how to use it." I froze. My heart pounded so violently I thought the wine glass in my hand might shatter. I must have misheard. I had to have misheard. But then came Emily's sharp gasp. "Rachel, are you serious?" "What about James?" she asked, voice tight with shock. Rachel laughed softly. "Oh, please. James is sweet, but he's boring, predictable. Derek? Derek is something else. And he's huge. James could never." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. The implication sliced through me like a blade. My own wife, the woman I'd spent the last decade loving, building a life with, was casually boasting about an affair. In our house, during our party, in front of friends I consider family. But I didn't lose control. Not then. I went back into the kitchen, set down the wine bottle, and forced my hands to stop shaking. I couldn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with. Over the following days, I became obsessed. I combed through her messages, email accounts, social media, anything I could access. The truth spilled out like poison. Explicit text photos and dates, evidence of meetups during her lunch breaks, stolen moments in hotels, and plans that had clearly been going on for months. But I wasn't just going to accuse her. No, I was going to expose her. I hired a private investigator, a professional who documented everything with cold precision. The final blow came when I discovered that Derek had a wife, Lisa, and a newborn baby at home. A man who played doting father by day and secret lover by night. I reached out to Lisa anonymously, sending her everything I had. She was devastated, understandably, but also grateful. We spoke quietly, calmly, and ultimately agreed this wasn't something that should be swept under the rug. 2 weeks later, Rachel decided to throw another dinner party. She was glowing, humming to herself as she decorated the house, oblivious to the storm on the horizon. I made sure Derek was invited. He showed up with his usual smug grin, completely unaware that the foundation beneath his feet was about to crumble. Midway through the evening, I tapped my glass for attention. "Everyone, can I have a moment?" I said, my voice calm. Rachel looked at me, beaming, probably expecting a romantic toast. The room grew quiet. I connected my laptop to the television. The screen flickered to life. Rachel has always been the light of my life. I began meeting her eyes, but I recently found out she's been sharing that light with someone else. Confusion spread. Rachel's smile faltered. "James? What are you doing?" She laughed nervously. I didn't answer. I just pressed play. The screen filled with screenshots, explicit messages between her and Derek. The texts were graphic, intimate, undeniable. Gasps echoed across the room. Derek's smugness disappeared. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. Rachel shot to her feet, her face flushed with panic. James, stop this. But I wasn't done. The investigators' photos came next. Clear shots of Rachel and Derek entering a hotel, their bodies entwined. Time stamped for all to see. The reaction was instant. Chaos, disgust, betrayal. Then, from the back of the room, Lisa stood up. I had invited her personally. You disgust me, she spat at Derek. You swore vows to me, to our baby. And this is what you do? With her? She pointed at Rachel, who now sat crumpled in a chair, sobbing. Derek tried to reach for her, stammering, Lisa, please. Explain? You think there's anything you can say to justify this? She snapped. Then she turned to me, eyes softening slightly. Thank you. You did the right thing. She walked out. Derek stumbled after her, humiliated and broken. The silence that followed was deafening. All eyes turned to Rachel. She looked at me, her voice barely audible through the tears. James, please, can we talk about this privately? I shook my head. Privately? You bragged about him in our home. During a party I helped you host. You humiliated me without a second thought. Now you can live with the consequences in front of everyone. She collapsed further into herself, her hands covering her face. No one offered her comfort, not even Emily. In the days that followed, Rachel tried everything: apologies, promises, tears. She even had the audacity to blame me, saying I wasn't exciting enough. But I was done. I filed for divorce. When it came time to divide the assets, I made sure the truth was documented for all to see. Rachel lost more than just a marriage. She lost friends, her reputation, and the life we had built together. Derek didn't fare any better. Lisa left him, took their child, and wrecked him the divorce. His professional life imploded under the weight of the scandal. As for me, I'm rebuilding. Slowly, deliberately. It's not easy, but there's peace in knowing I stood up for myself. I refused to be humiliated quietly. I chose to reclaim my dignity, and now I'm creating a life without lies, without betrayal. Something better, something real.